We started our journey to Bali at Changi Airport in Singapore. Smooth, efficient, and always a little surreal. Once on board, we settled into our seats, ready for the short flight across the sea. A couple of hours later, we touched down in Bali under a warm, moonlit sky, and the moment we stepped off the plane, the humidity hit us like a wall. Thick, tropical, and unmistakably Bali. Our prearranged driver was waiting, sign in hand, and whisked us through the winding roads of the island. Even at night, Bali felt alive. Scooters everywhere, incense in the air, and the sound of waves somewhere in the distance. By the time we arrived at the hotel, we were sticky, tired, but smiling. A new adventure had officially begun. We arrived at the Hilton Bali Resort at night, and even in the dark, it felt like a hidden paradise. The sound of crashing waves echoed below as we checked in, greeted by warm smiles and tropical air so thick you could feel it. Tired but excited, we made our way to our room, ready to wake up in paradise. Pretty dark outside. Hilton Resort Bali. We woke up just before sunrise, still a bit jet-lagged, but curious. The sky was a soft gradient of deep blues and fading stars as we quietly stepped out to explore. And I just loved hearing the chirping birds in such a quiet space. The beach was calm, waves gently rolling in and not a soul in sight. It felt like the entire island was still asleep except for us.
From Bali, this is it. About 6:30 in the morning.
As the first light crept over the horizon, we wandered through the hotel grounds. Lush, perfectly manicured and full of hidden corners, begging to be explored. You could hear birds starting to sing, and for a moment, everything felt still and perfect. Then came the best part, breakfast. The Hilton's buffet did not disappoint. Tropical fruits, fresh pastries, eggs, any way you want them, served with ocean views and the warm Bali breeze. Our day trip started with a drive through Bali's buzzing streets, scooters weaving past us, colorful offerings lining the sidewalks, and towering statues and temples at nearly every turn. The energy was electric yet somehow still peaceful. As we headed inland, the roads got quieter and soon we arrived at a coffee farm. Surrounded by lush greenery, we learned about the history of Bali's unique coffee traditions, including the famous luwak coffee.
Women screaming because of that giant swing. But we're trying all kinds of coffees.
That swing is awesome, by the way.
And I gotta go. So here we are, where there's about 13 types of coffees here.
We're coffee tasting.
And this is by far my favorite, number 13, which is coconut. That's it, that's my favorite. Anyway, we're here at the coffee bean plantation farm. And we're having a great time, although it's hot.
We're learning all about coffee, how it's made, how it's processed.
Truly. All right, bye.
We didn't really know what to expect when we pulled up to the butterfly farm. From the outside, it looked like a quiet little garden tucked into the hills, but once we stepped inside, it felt like a dream. The air was warm and still, and instantly we were surrounded by the soft flutter of wings. The first thing we noticed was the silence. Not complete silence, but peaceful kind of quiet. The kind where you hear the wind moving through the trees, the gentle buzz of life all around you, and your own breath as you slow down to take it all in. Inside the large netted garden, butterflies floated through the air like living confetti. Some were small and delicate, others bright and bold, electric blues, fiery oranges, and deep velvety blacks. They danced from flower to flower, and every now and then one would land on us as if saying hello. The staff were kind and eager to share their knowledge. They guided us through the different species, explained their life cycle from tiny egg to hungry caterpillar to cocoon, and finally to that breathtaking moment of transformation. We even got to see a few butterflies emerging from their chrysalises, fragile wings still curled, drying slowly in the warmth. What struck us most was how intentional and patient everything felt. In a world that moves so fast, this place felt like the opposite. Here, nature took its time, and so did we. We strolled through lush gardens filled with tropical flowers, walked past dragonflies, beetles, and tiny frogs, and spent way too long trying to get the perfect shot of a butterfly mid flight. Spoiler alert, it's harder than it looks. There's also an indoor section with mounted butterflies from around the world, some no longer found in the wild. It made us appreciate just how precious and vulnerable these creatures really are. By the end of our visit, we felt calm, inspired, grateful. There's something magical about being surrounded by beauty that expects nothing of you. Just the invitation to observe, to wonder, and to remember how much life happens quietly, right in front of us. The butterfly farm wasn't the flashiest stop on our trip, but it might have been one of the most meaningful. A gentle reminder to slow down and let life flutter by a little softer. Then we reached the monkey forest. Visiting the monkey forest was like stepping into another world. Lush, ancient trees, moss covered statues, and monkeys everywhere. At first, it felt magical until we witnessed a sudden scuffle. Monkeys shrieking, leaping through the air, chasing each other across branches. It was like wild and a little intimidating. We felt a mix of awe and apprehension, standing just feet away from their raw, untamed energy. There was a point when we really didn't know where to position ourselves. But in that moment, we also felt incredibly privileged to witness life in its purest form. In a habitat where these creatures truly belong, it was beautiful, chaotic, and definitely unforgettable. Then we headed to the nearby rice fields to view this amazing phenomenon. As we walked along the edge of the rice fields, we looked up, and there they were, dozens of little egrets, perched high in the trees like delicate white ornaments against the sky. With their slender bodies, long legs, and graceful necks, they looked peaceful and alert, watching the world from above. It was a quiet, magical moment, nature in its perfect stillness, and we were lucky to witness it. What an amazing day indeed, truly unforgettable. The next day, our day trip to Nusa Penida started with an exciting ride on the high-speed ferry. The boat cut through the clear blue waters of the Bali Strait, and the island gradually came into view. Its rugged cliffs rising from the sea, the excitement was palpable as we made our way toward the island. Once we arrived, the adventure really began. We hopped into our transport and set off on the narrow, winding roads that cut through the island. The drive was long and the roads were rough, but the scenery kept us mesmerized.
So there are a lot of village temples and family temples here all over Indonesia. And this is an example of family temples.
We passed through modest homes tucked into the landscape, simple structures made from wood and thatched, often with small family temples in their yards. It felt like a glimpse into the real everyday life of the islanders. As we drove deeper into the heart of Nusa Penida, the terrain became more rugged. The roads were often narrow, with steep inclines and sharp turns, making the ride bumpy and unpredictable. The heat was intense, and the sun beat down on us as we navigated through the dense greenery. Occasionally, we squeezed through narrow passageways between trees and foliage, catching brief glimpses of the island's wild beauty. Despite the rough ride, there was something peaceful about the journey. It was clear that life here was slower, more connected to the land. The island felt untouched, like a secret waiting to be explored. And when we finally reached our destination, we couldn't help but feel the thrill of arriving somewhere so unique.
And the rough terrain continues, but pretty interesting views.
So far from the bustling tourist areas of Bali, it was an adventure we'd never forget.
Okay, so we got here at the lookout, as you can see from the bottom.
We made it to the famous Nusa Penida lookout, where the view took our breaths away. From the cliff's edge, we could see the iconic Kayaking beach below, a stunning stretch of white sand framed by towering limestone cliffs shaped like a T-Rex's head.
So, it's just so awesome. Here we are. I can't believe it.
You first see it, it's shocking.
And to see is to believe, really. This is called Kayaking Beach. Kayaking. Kayaking Beach.
It really felt like we will never stop taking photos just because the view was stunning and feel unearthly. It was just so magical and heavenly.
View from this vantage point.
The turquoise water below sparkled in the sunlight, and the sight was absolutely surreal. Standing there, we felt like we were on top of the world, with the beauty of Nusa Penida unfolding beneath us. At Broken Beach, nature's power is on full display. What looks like a collapsed sea cliff has formed a perfect circular cove, with a natural stone arch stretching across the turquoise water. Waves crash gently through the opening, creating a surreal, peaceful scene. Standing at the edge, looking down into the clear blue, it feels like a hidden world carved out by time. It's wild, dramatic, and unbelievably beautiful, one of Nusa Penida's most unforgettable sights. And we headed to Angel's Billabong Beach, which is like something out of a dream. Tucked into the rugged cliffs of Nusa Penida, it's a natural infinity pool carved into the rock, where crystal clear water gently flows in from the ocean. We carefully made our way down the jagged path, the heat radiating off the stone. Once we reached the edge, it was pure magic. The water shimmered in shades of green and blue. Calm and still despite the crashing waves nearby, it felt like nature's own hidden spa. Peaceful, raw, and completely unforgettable. As the sun began to dip, we boarded the ferry for a ride back to Bali. The ocean breeze felt refreshing after a long adventure-filled day. We looked out over the water, tired but grateful, watching Nusa Penida fade into the distance. The waves rocked us gently and the sky turned soft shades of gold and pink. It was a perfect, peaceful end to an unforgettable journey. Back at the hotel, the late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over everything. Bali is just so magical. We slipped into the pool, the water warm and welcoming after a full day of exploring. Around us, palm trees swayed gently, and the reflection of the sun danced on the surface. Just beyond, the ocean shimmered in the same golden light. It was peaceful, quiet, like the whole day was exhaling. We floated, relaxed, and let the calm settle in. There was nowhere we needed to be, just this perfect moment of stillness and soft sunlight. What an unforgettable day and experience. The next morning, we woke to the sound of rain tapping against the window. Bali's tropical weather had a way of surprising us. The rain was soft at first, then grew heavier, creating a peaceful rhythm. It felt refreshing, cooling the air and making everything feel even more relaxed. We watched the rain for a while, enjoying the calm before the day began.
Good morning. It's Thursday, the 20. Actually, it's the 30th, and it's raining heavily. And actually loving it because it's a lot cooler this morning than normal, as you can see. So serene. Off we go to water rafting. I'll see you later.
It all began with a rainy morning drive that set the tone for what would turn into an unforgettable adventure. The rain tapped gently on the car windows as we made our way to the kayak station, the misty landscape around us creating an almost magical feeling. The air was fresh and the scent of wet earth filled the space as we wound through the narrow roads. We arrived at the station, gathered our gear, and were ready for the next step of our journey. From there, we began our trek downhill, surrounded by lush tropical vegetation that seemed to swallow us whole. Every step was accompanied by the sounds of nature, chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the soft pitter-patter of rain. As we descended, air grew thicker, cooler, and more vibrant with every step, and the anticipation of what was to come kept us going. Eventually, we reached the river, the water flowing swiftly beneath us, eager to take us on a journey. The kayaks were waiting, bobbing gently on the water, their colors bright against the dark green surroundings, and we slipped into them, paddles in hand, and began our adventure. The river felt so alive. We navigated the twists and turns, the water surface occasionally breaking into small ripples as we paddled forward. Then every bend revealed something new and breathtaking. Tall, towering trees that lined the riverbanks, their roots stretching down into the water, creating little tunnels of shade and mystery. The river wound through dense jungle, with the rain now turning into a steady mist, adding an almost ethereal feel to the whole experience. As we paddled deeper into the heart of the jungle, we passed by stunning luxury resorts tucked away along the river path. Their pristine beauty seemed out of place, yet perfectly integrated into the natural landscape. It was surreal to be surrounded by such untouched beauty, knowing that just a few feet away, the luxury of modern life was quietly coexisting with the raw, untamed energy of the jungle. The experience was electric. Each twist of the river brought a new challenge, a new thrill. We shouted with excitement as we tried to navigate the fast moving current, laughing at ourselves and each other when we veered off course or accidentally splashed water into the kayaks. The adrenaline coursed through us as we picked up speed, the river seeming to challenge us to keep up. The heart stopping moments when we nearly hit a rock or almost lost our balance in the rushing water were tempered by laughter and sheer joy. It was a rush like nothing else. What an amazing experience. But even as the excitement grew, we were still completely surrounded by the beauty of Bali's jungle. We paddled past towering cliffs, their sheer faces covered in green moss and vines, and the sounds of nature grew louder as we ventured deeper. The jungle seemed to close in around us, and for the moment we forgot where we were. It didn't matter that we were in the heart of the Balinese jungle because the experience of the river, of the kayak, the laughter, the rush was all encompassing. The world outside this moment faded away. The fun was absolutely endless. There were moments of calm when we floated lazily on the river, allowing the water to carry us, only to be followed by another burst of excitement as we paddled through fast moving sections or maneuvered through narrow channels between rocks and trees. Each turn held a new surprise, a new rush of joy. Eventually, though, as we neared the end of the journey, we couldn't help but reflect on how the whole experience had been out of this world. The combination of the jungle's raw power, the peacefulness of the river, and the exhilarating challenge of kayaking had made for an experience we'd never forget. The rain, the laughter, and the heart-stopping moments, everything came together in such a way that we knew it would be a story we'd share for years to come.
I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to go to the Ritz.
As we pulled our kayaks to shore, the sense of accomplishment washed over us. We'd conquered the river, navigated its twists and turns, and had an adventure unlike any other. Just look at the beauty of this jungle. The rain had added a special layer to it all, and the Bali jungle had given us memories that would stay with us forever.
This is real life, real jungle in Bali.
Yes, whatever he said. Awesomeness.
Our last afternoon on the beach was pure bliss. The sun hung low, casting a golden glow across the sand as gentle waves lapped at our feet. We sat in silence, just soaking it all in, the warmth, the breeze, the sound of the ocean. Time felt slower, sweeter. It was a perfect ending to a very magical trip. That evening, we treated ourselves an absolute feast. The table was overflowing with flavors, grilled seafood, fragrant rice, spicy sambal, and fresh tropical fruit. Every bite was rich, bold, and delicious. We laughed, shared stories, and savored every moment. It wasn't just a meal, it was a celebration of everything we'd experienced in Bali, wrapped in one unforgettable moment. On our last night, the views were magical. The sky was clear, dotted with stars, and the sound of waves echoed in the distance. The resort lights shimmered softly, casting reflections across the pool and gardens. Everything felt calm, peaceful, like Bali was gently saying goodbye. It was a perfect night to remember.
So we're
The
here at
following
the
morning,
temple in
we journeyed
Pedugul.
to the temple in Pedugul.
3 hours
It was a long
away
and winding
from
one, through mountain roads,
Bali
past dense
itself.
forests, and quiet
Top
villages.
of a
The air grew
mountain
cooler as we
with
climbed,
a lake,
and the landscape shifted into
with a
misty
temple.
hills and lush greenery. When we
What's
finally arrived,
fascinating is this is definitely
the
a
sight was
must-see
truly magical.
if you're
The
going
temple
to
stood gracefully at the edge of
Bali
a
for
serene
New Year.
lake,
The weather
its
is a lot
reflection
cooler
dancing on the
and
water. The atmosphere was
like
peaceful, almost sacred.
there are bursts of rain
We took our time walking through the
without
grounds,
any indication.
taking in the traditional architecture, the smell of incense, and the soft chants carried by the wind.
At its best, I think.
Locals came to pray, dressed in ceremonial attire, which we also followed, and we felt deeply honored to witness such authentic beauty and culture. Surrounded by nature and history, we felt connected to the place, the people, and the spirit of Bali. It was a journey we won't forget. Before heading to the airport, we squeezed in one last moment of bliss, a quick stop at a Balinese spa. From there, we flew back to Singapore and checked into one of the airport hotels inside Changi Airport.
Hello. How are you? So this is our room inside the airport. This transit hotel is actually inside immigration, so we didn't have to check out or leave the airport or check into immigration. We just transferred over here. Night night. With that said, night night. We're tired.
The following morning, we woke up, had breakfast, and headed to our gate, which is literally in front of the airport hotel. But as we laid in bed the night before, we couldn't help but reflect on the past days, the beauty, the culture, the laughter. As we sat in quiet reflection, memories from the past few days played in our minds. The energy of Singapore, the magic of Bali, the people, the places, the moments that made us laugh, breathe deeper, and feel more alive. This journey wasn't just about seeing the world. It was about feeling it together. And in those moments, we were reminded why we travel, to grow, to connect, and to carry pieces of each place with us forever. In the end, it's not just the sights we remember, but it's how they changed us forever. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to watch our other videos. Peace and blessings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more.